Hello, I'm Fallulah. I'm from Copenhagen, Denmark, and I'm a Danish singer and songwriter. So my background is I'm half Danish, half Romanian. My father was a Balkan folk dance choreographer from Romania, and he moved to Denmark in the late 60s, where he met my mother. And so he started a dance group in Denmark with Balkan dance. And so my mother became involved. They actually met in one of his classes. And so it's been a very big part of my life. Always traveling a lot to Romania, Bulgaria. My parents been to Hungary, but this is my first time in Hungary. But yeah, so doing dances also from Hungary, actually. So this is part of what I grew up with. So I have both the Scandinavian side and the Eastern European side. My parents only listened to folk music, Balkan, so that was like everything we heard in my home. Only when I became like a bit older, I could buy my own CDs and listen to some other type of music. When I make my music, it's not intentional for me to sound like I have Balkan roots. It's not like something I do on purpose, but it comes just naturally because it's a part of my background. And so I mix very modern sounds, I guess, with the bit more folksy sounds. And so a lot of people, when they listen to it, can hear a bit of Balkan in it. So I think that's quite fun. My influences, it comes from very different places. It's actually mostly writing. I like writing a lot, and I've been writing since I was very young. And telling stories. That's basically my point of writing always, is to tell a story from my life. And so it's very personal. And apart from that, I really enjoy reading a lot, and I love watching movies. And so I guess I'm inspired a bit from everywhere. It's like very much moods and yeah, like landscapes, and it's not like different styles of music in particular. It's kind of more of a feeling. I did live as a dancer for some years professionally. I always did the dancing, but I also always did writing. But the writing thing was more of a personal project, so nobody really knew about me doing songs before I decided to go ahead and tell people, but that took me a while. So people knew I was dancing, and after I finished school, I took like 1 year of dancing full time, and after that I started getting jobs and working as a dancer, and I did different musicals and TV shows and stuff like that in Denmark. And then I moved to New York to dance at Broadway Dance Center. And it was very much when I stayed in New York that I realized how important music was for me. And that's when I decided to go ahead and become a musician. I've written both lyrics for songs, and I've also been writing like poems and little stories. But I stopped doing that when I focused more on songs. So it's been a long time since I've written stories, but I'm really interested in doing that again at some point. When I decided to go ahead and jump into this crazy world of being a musician, I was dancing full time, 5 hours every day. And then at night I couldn't sleep because I kept hearing songs in my head, so I had to get up and write them down and sing the melodies into my mobile phone. And so I always had this big love of music, but that's when I realized that it was more important to me than dancing. I still really enjoy dancing, especially on stage, but it's not what I want as a career. I feel like it's more personal to express yourself with music. My first album was perceived as being very happy by a lot of people, actually, but I thought that it was quite dark, but not many people heard it in the music. It was a lot of stories about my childhood and my upbringing, and the Black Cat neighborhood was it meant that I always felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. Like I felt very much alone for many years. And so for me it was quite dark, but I like to take a dark story and pair it with a very happy sounding melody. So often people think that the songs are very happy when they're actually quite sad. But I like that. I like that you don't know if it's a happy or a sad song sometimes. I thought about doing bands sometimes. I have been wanting to do that recently, but as a side project probably I would do a band at some point. But I also have to have my solo thing because it's, yeah, I can't really share it because it's too personal. But definitely at some point I think I will be in a band. Escapism, my new album, came out in Denmark and Sweden just in February, and I'm finding out when it's gonna come out other places too. But I have been touring a lot in Denmark and also in Sweden, and I've been really lucky because I got to go to Russia, I got to go to Ireland, and now I'm here in Hungary, and later this year I'll be going to Istanbul. So I've been traveling quite a lot, and I'm also going back to America later this year. That's a good question if I'm escaping. I don't know. I think for me to be creative, it's very important for me to get input from different places, and I go a bit crazy if I stay the same place for too long. I think it's because of my upbringing, because we traveled a lot. I have a need to experience new places, and I think in my music I don't escape because I write about my stories, and it's not always so easy, but that's how I express myself. So when I write music, it's not escapism, but definitely sometimes in my day-to-day life I do escape some things, like a lot of people do when they watch television or listen to music or go out and getting drunk or something. It's all kind of escapism, I think, but it's not always a bad thing. It can be a positive thing. There is a lot of really talented women that I look up to in music. So it started with Fiona Apple, she's an American singer and songwriter. She's writing some very, very honest lyrics, and that inspired me a lot to also be very honest. I really like this woman called Karen O from a band called the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. And there's so many amazing females. Joni Mitchell. God, I could literally name 30 women that I really like, I think. I haven't met any of these people. I think I would be too scared to meet them because I adore them so much. I wouldn't know what to say. It's too scary. Mostly I'm on my own, but sometimes I've been to London for this new album and worked a little bit with people over there, and that was a really good experience. I met some really wonderful people, producers and songwriters, and that was the first time I ever collaborated outside of my little world, but that was fun. But I still really do enjoy the process of writing and just being in my own head and like sitting by my computer doing demos, and yeah, it gets a bit lonely sometimes, but I do enjoy it. It's often melodies coming first, and then sometimes the lyrics come along, and sometimes I start with an idea of a lyric, and then I can hear like a melody quite fast, but they're always right next to each other. It's like they belong together, I feel. So melodies and lyrics are the most important things in a song, I think. Melodies and lyrics I always write alone, and then sometimes I collaborate with the music part. When we rehearse, we don't have a lot of time before a show, and it's quite intense, many hours. And other times you maybe have like 3 or 4 or 5 rehearsals, depending on how much new material you have to learn. So it varies a lot. I mean, I've been doing a lot of the songs for many years, so I know them by heart, of course. and some of them are very new to me to play live. The visual part of the music is extremely important to me. It's like almost as important as the music itself. So I handpick whoever I work with as videographers, and we have meetings and we talk about what we're gonna do, and like I really enjoy being very involved in that process. And also I've been working with some very talented people who come with all their creativity, and we've met, and I think that I've been very lucky with the people I've been working with on videos. I guess it's the most important visual element would be myself. I like to dance a lot on stage and move around, and I love putting on quite a show. But I care a lot about like the backdrops. You have like a big blanket behind you, and also that's quite important for me, what that looks like and what, you know, the positions on stage and everything is quite important. So for this show I brought both some of the songs from my first album and some of the songs from the new album. I really wanted to have a mix because I know some people have waited quite a while for me to come and play, and so I wanted to not only do new songs, I wanted to also play some they know better. And so it's I think it's built up very nicely. We start a bit mysterious, and then we build it up to kind of a party, and then break it completely down so it's very quiet, and then build it up again. And I kind of like working on dynamics, and I love to see people dancing, so I'm trying to get like a party started as well. I think the most memorable place I've played this year was in Russia. I played in Gorky Park in Moscow, which is a historical place, you know. That was pretty wild, and I had no idea I had any fans in Russia, and when I came there was quite a lot of people, and they knew the songs and was singing and stuff, so that was a big surprise for me. I do a lot to keep contact with my fans. I like being in touch with them like every day actually. So I'm like on Twitter, on Facebook and Instagram, so I use the social media a lot. And I like that they can like ask me something directly, and I can, you know, there's a direct contact, which I think is quite nice. I think this venue is amazing. No, that's not true. I've played on a ship once before in Norway, but that was very different than this. So I think this is amazing with all the old like machinery standing around. It's got a lot of soul, and I'm really looking forward to playing here tonight. In Copenhagen we have a lot of really nice venues, and my favorite is called Vega. It's a very beautiful old room. It just has a lot of atmosphere, and it's just many people who come to Denmark and play, that's their favorite place. And it's not too big and not too small, it's like quite perfect. I like living many places. I love Copenhagen, but I also like coming to a new place, and I do miss America sometimes, and I've also spent a lot of time in London, and I miss that sometimes, so I just try to travel as much as I can, so I don't get too bored with my country. My plan is next year to actually already write my next album, my new album, and I'm already doing it. And also my plan is to put out my 2 first albums worldwide so everyone can get it, because a lot of countries they can't buy it, and so I want to make it available so they can finally get the music. So I'm looking forward to that.